In late March, Embraer's new Phenom 300E received triple certification from Brazil, the U.S., and Europe, about a month after I flew the high-performance jet at Embraer Executive Jets U.S. facility in Melbourne, Florida. It was an excellent opportunity to experience the new 300E's faster top speed, upgraded avionics, and improved cabin. The Phenom 300 has been a best-selling light jet for the past 7 years, with more than 540 entering service since the first delivery in 2009. In 2018, Embraer upgraded the Phenom 300 with the E, or Enhanced package. The $9.65 million new 300E adds new features to the cabin, such as the Lufthansa Technik Nice Cabin Management System upper tech panel, and the Bossa Nova interior aesthetic, inspired by the larger Praetor models. The new interior is also now much quieter. Faster Wi-Fi is new thanks to Gogo's Avance L5 system with speeds up to 10 megabits per second. Its competitors are Cessna's Citation CJ3 Plus and CJ4, Bombardier's Learjet 75, and the Pilatus PC-24. Production test pilot Steve Berst and demo pilot Sebastian Arazola briefed me on our flight plan, which would take us off the Florida coast for a performance speed check at altitude, then back down for maneuvering practice and demonstrations of the 300E's new stabilized approach and runway overrun and awareness alerting system, or ROAS. As it turned out, we gave ROAS a good workout. Taller pilots are going to love the new space in the flight deck. By moving the bulkheads behind the pilot seats aft, Embraer was able to add 40% to the length of the pilot seat tracks. Pilots will also enjoy the new avionics capabilities of the Garmin G3000-based Prodigy Touch flight deck. The new displays and software load also enable the addition of takeoff and landing data and performance calculations and autopilot coupled go-arounds. ADS-B out and in is also standard. All the switches and knobs in the two Garmin touchscreen controllers come readily to hand, and getting the airplane ready for engine start is just a matter of minutes. Berst plugged in our flight plan on the touchscreen controller, and we were ready to taxi. With 4,130 pounds of fuel on board, at 16,543 pounds, the 300E was 2,008 pounds lower than its new maximum takeoff weight of 18,551 pounds. Maximum fuel capacity is 5,353 pounds. Takeoff field length was calculated at 3,052 feet. Berst warned me that takeoff would be quick and that I would have to reduce power after getting airborne to keep from overspeeding or climbing past our initial altitude. The powerful Pratts accelerated the 300E with a firm push, and I rotated at 105 knots. The 300E bounded into the air, and as I climbed, then turned to the east, I brought the power back and we quickly leveled at 5,000 feet. After ATC cleared us to climb, Berst set our climb speed at 230 knots. I switched on the autopilot after reaching 10,000 feet and proceeded to fly towards the flight-planned warning area W139E northeast of Melbourne over the Atlantic Ocean. The enhanced 300E climbs about a minute faster than the previous version and tops out at flight level 450. We stopped at flight level 330 for a performance check, as the mid-30s are where the light jet reaches top speed. Once settled with the engine set at maximum cruise, the outside temperature was 3 degrees higher than standard. Cruise speed reached Mach 0.794 and 465 knots true airspeed, with each engine burning 798 pounds per hour. We then reduced power to long-range cruise, and fuel flow dropped to 416 pounds per hour per engine, pushing us along at Mach 0.58 and 364 knots true airspeed. After turning back to the south, we had to fly a few miles outside of the warning area before descending. Once we received the descent clearance, I pulled the power to idle, pulled out the speed brakes, pointed the nose down to 250 knots for a rapid descending left spiral down to 15,000 feet with a 7,000 foot per minute descent rate. Further to the south, I continued the descent to 6,500 feet for some steep turns and slow flight. I probably should have slowed to below 200 knots for the steep turns because at the speed I chose, 230 knots, the controls were a little bit heavier and my turns weren't so smooth. After slowing down and adding flaps and landing gear, the controls lightened up, and the 300E's handling became lighter and more pleasant at 120 knots, not much higher than typical approach speeds. After cleaning up, we proceeded back towards Melbourne to put the unstable approach system and ROAS to work. Bearst ran the V-speed calculations on the Garmin touchscreen controller, and VREF was 106 knots. For the first approach, we activated the RNAV GPS 27 left approach and switched on the autopilot so I could experience the coupled go-around. The autopilot smoothly flew the 300E along the approach, and on the final segment, I purposely pulled the power back and let some speed bleed off. ROAS engages at 1,000 feet AGL, and in this case we let the speed decline to the -3 knot threshold below the 106 knot VREF, and the unstable approach system said "Unstable approach" and flashed a yellow speed warning. At about 300 feet, I added power to make ROAS see that we would not have enough runway to land, and ROAS then said "Caution overrun" and lit up a yellow overrun warning right next to the flight director symbol so I would see it right away. It continued warning me about the overrun until I pressed the takeoff go-around button on the side of the power lever and the airspeed increased. The 300E leaped into the sky, but at our light weight, the airspeed increased so rapidly we nearly exceeded the flap limits, and Bearst brought the power back to stop the rapid acceleration. Coupled go-arounds are a great safety feature, but you certainly still have to be ready to manage the airplane. Because the 300E can be flown by one pilot, training in this operation is essential, but hopefully a future upgrade will include auto throttles, with which Garmin has plenty of experience. In any case, this is still a lot better than the previous avionics in the Phenom 300, which disconnects the autopilot when you push the takeoff go-around button. I steered the 300E into a left traffic pattern and back to runway 27 left for a visual approach. This time I got a safety bonus, first with an unstable approach with speed warning, then too rapid a descent with a vertical speed warning, then caution overrun, followed by long flare as I held the 300E level just above the runway, and finally overrun, go around, overrun, go around. Clearly I needed to abandon this approach, so off we went for another go around. This time I managed to keep the speed from redlining, but events still happened quickly. We finished the flight with the visual approach to runway 27 right, and this is now one of the offerings on the G3000's procedures menu, which sets a 3-degree glide path to the runway end. This time I managed to keep the ROAS from criticizing my flying or telling me to go around, and my approach was properly stabilized. I pulled the nose up a little too high before touching down, then let the nose drop onto the runway and gave the brakes enough of a push to activate the anti-skid system. Despite my attempt to flare for a smooth landing, the touchdown felt comfortably firm but not hard, thanks to the trailing link landing gear. Designed to reduce the risk of a runway overrun on landing, ROAS addresses one of the top issues in business aviation safety. Overruns are the third biggest cause of incidents and accidents in business aviation, and traditional mitigation efforts, such as training, aren't helping to reduce the accidents. ROAS is unique because it uses neural network algorithms to calculate runway distance in real time while the Phenom is approaching and landing. It takes into account deviations that may lead to an overrun and warns the pilot when flying too fast for the available runway if the pilot should do a go-around or needs to use maximum braking action once on the ground. ROAS bases its warnings, which are visual on the flight display and oral, on the actual weight of the airplane by recalculating in real time the aircraft's energy state. This is a significant safety system for business aircraft, although Airbus is also adding such a system for its commercial aircraft, and Gulfstream has developed a similar system for the new G700. Embraer's upgrades to the Phenom 300E are just part of the manufacturer's effort to respond to customer desires to keep their airplanes up to date, because a key part of customer loyalty is constantly improving the product. The upgrades all make a lot of sense and improve upon an airplane that is already an excellent performer, from a cabin and flight deck comfort perspective, but even more important, with greatly improved safety features.